Hi, so this video is on how to learn real Kung Fu using nothing but a trampoline. The bigger the trampoline, the better. But if you don't have space for a trampoline, or like if your landlord won't let you get a big trampoline, you can use a tiny trampoline. So, dumb people think that Kung Fu is like, oh, here's a move, you've learned a punch. Oh, here's that, you've learned that. Here's this, you've learned that. Here's your horse stance, and here's your, great. Okay, here's your oh, bon, oh, hey, right? Like, so people think Kung Fu is all of that stuff. Kung Fu is an inner coherence, right? And so when you practice a move over and over and over and over again, you tend to develop inner coherence, but it's not certain that you're going to do that. So it's good to just work the inner coherence directly, which is like working the internal stuff instead of having like a form of like, oh, my punch is better, right? You just go, oh, my internal coherence is better. And if your internal coherence is better, everything you do is going to be better. Because if you punch, it's going to be with coherence. It's going to be with coherence. If you bat, it's going to be right. So, like the internal stuff is just like, why? Just make yourself like internally coherent. Like the big trick is you're just kind of like notice yourself like right now, and you're moving forward through time. And that's how you move from one moment to the next, to the next, to the next. There's flow. There's a directionality. There's a movement to even to yourself in stillness, because you're going through time. So internal coherence is like, no matter which way you look, you can sense that movement through time and make sure that you're running into all of that movement through time. So that's like, you know, imagine sticking your hand out the window, the wind's hitting it, and so moving forward through time is just feel that the wind is hitting the hand, and at that point you can change how you're angling into the wind, and it'll cause your hand to, you know, to fly around as it goes out the car window, right? So the same thing happens with your movement through time, and then you can do the same thing, and you're moving through time, the whole thing. So like if you were gonna go, that's coherence, right? And it's like you're moving through time at a superficial level, so you can feel it at the skin, and then you're moving through time, like your breath, as it goes in and out, or as your heart beats, like let's just say breath, right? You can feel that, like whatever the event of the breath is, feel it, and as it's expanding, contracting, it's also moving through time. So you can, as you breathe, you can feel that the time running into it, the presence, the beingness, and then change the angle at which you're running into the beingness, which is exactly like your hand's out the window. If I change the angle that I'm running into the air, the hand is pushed that way, and you get this sort of swimming effect. So within Kung Fu or internal coherence, it's getting that entire angle. Because if I'm like with the whole thing, if I'm with my feet, if I'm with my legs, if I'm with everything, as I change the tack, right, the sailboat tack, or the angle of attack, like on an airplane wing, right, as I change that tack, that'll cause my body to innately shift. So I want to be present with that. So I'm going to use my beingness, or my movement through time, to power, guide, steer, and direct all of my movements. So instead of doing a squat where I'm like, oh, my quads are getting so big, I'm changing the angle of my beingness with the entirety of my body, as if I'm in a current, as if the entirety of my body is in a current. And it is. The entirety of my body is moving through time, which is movement of the ether, right? There's only one thing. There's only ether. So movement through time is the exact same feeling, the exact same substance as your weight. It's the same substance as your momentum, your inertia. It's the same substance as if somebody was pushing on you. And so when you catch that substance, your movement becomes based off of it, right? Based off of this higher dimensional fluid, the surface of which gives rise to all perceptible phenomenon. But otherwise, all perceptible phenomenon is underneath the body of it, is this beingness, is this time, is this many different pointings, right? That's the body of it, and the body of it is what pushes onto you when there's a current. When there's a current, the surface reflects that there's a current in the being, right? The surface of a river reflects that all the water is flowing, but when you get into the river, the thing that pushes on you is not the surface, it's the water. The beingness itself. Some of it is the surface, some of it is not the surface. Some of it is in that higher dimensional space, right? The surface of the water is a two-dimensional wave code pattern thing, and then underneath that is a non-dimensional space we would call the body of water. So underneath any direction that anybody could possibly point is this substance that people have called ether, etc. Right? So with the trampoline, it causes, it catches, it helps you capture, touch, feel the ether a little bit more, just like fins help you touch the water a little bit more. And moving with and moving it, like if you want to hit hard, you have to hit the you have to move the actual mass. You can't just the technique stuff is like looking at the wave pattern and going, okay, a hard hit is like a big current that way, and right? It's not that. A hard hit is the whole body of water, which is this, like the substance of everything is leading into that motion. So you're not going to do that motion unless the substance of everything is leading into it, or unless you're strong enough to draw a lot of substance of everything, which a lot of people call muscular strength, timing, like weight stuff, like if you can use your weight transfer, your momentum, or your muscles to generate force, that's drawing a lot more body of everything, a larger fraction of it, into the action, so the action seems powerful. Right? Like somebody could hit with their weight shift, and somebody could hit with their muscles, and they could be pretty much equal in terms of how much the substance of everything they're actually drawing into it. It's different types of substance of everything, but they might be drawing the same percentages. The trampoline opens up one aspect of that substance of everything with the springiness. It lets you interact with it a little bit more. I can more easily feel how changing my tack, changing my angle of entry through time causes these swimmy shifts. So Kung Fu, right? You want to block. Okay, so how do I, when you block, you want to throw the substance of everything in a particular direction that's counter to the attack coming in, so that it's overwhelmed by how much isness there is there. So, like if I'm going to put up a wall here, I want to be moving the substance of everything into that wall. Or you could practice, oh, this is coming in, I want it to connect with as much of me as possible so it spreads out and it's not even a bad impact. Or if I want to cause a tremendous impact, I want to put a lot of the substance of everything into my limb. Again, the trampoline kind of helps find that. And then it makes it super, super easy to drill into it. Whereas on the ground, it's a little bit harder to feel what I'm talking about on the ground, just the way it's a little bit harder to feel the water without fins on. Right? There's something about the fins, even though you're in water, you know it's there, consciously, yada, 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 I know I'm in water, you still can only interact with the water to a certain degree. And then if you put fins on, there's a greater amount of interaction. So even though you're in time, moving through time to the same degree here, like your consciousness is at the same level here as it is here, your ability to interact with your being in time is greatly amplified by the trampoline in the exact same way that your swimming ability is amplified by fins or paddles, or to an extreme degree a surfboard, or an even more extreme degree a sailboat. or an even crazy extreme degree, a nuclear submarine. Change how you're able to, how much of the everythingness you're able to like move and interact with to like amplify your blah blah blahs, right? So that's Kung Fu. So much easier on a trampoline is all.